So I got to try out the newest 5-star Dendro character Llama early, and her addition to Genshin opens up a lot of new potential for Dendro reactions. Being mainly a support and buffer who also gains the ability to heal with her first constellation, she is honestly everything that you want in a Dendro character. In order to understand Llama, there are a few new mechanics in Nod Krai that I want to go over. The most important one is the moon sign system, where depending on the number of Nod Krai members are in your team, you get either the Ascendant Gleam with one Nod Krai character, or Ascendant Gleam with 2 or more Nod Krai characters. So if your team consists of only Llama as your Nod Krai character, then your moon sign is Ascendant Gleam. And if you add Ino into the party, then your moon sign is Ascendant Gleam. Think of it similarly to the Elemental Resonance, where you get a buff depending on how many characters that fits the criteria is in your party. The moon sign system is particularly important for Llama because she gets a different buff depending on whether the team's moon sign is Ascendant Gleam or Ascendant Gleam. When Llama is in a party, all bloom reactions triggered by characters will be converted into lunar bloom reaction. This isn't to be confused with lunar bloom damage, since as of the latest version, only Llama can deal lunar bloom damage, which is basically the special gradient and italicized damage. So teams that utilize any bloom reactions are the best for her. When a character in a party triggers a lunar bloom reaction, Llama will also gain verdant dew stacks with a maximum of 3 stacks. You can see how many stacks you have by looking at a crescent moon icon below your party members. When possessing the verdant dew stacks, Llama will gain the ability to hold down her elemental skill to consume the stacks in order to deal the lunar bloom's special gradient damage. Each stack of verdant dew she consumes using her elemental skill will be turned into the Moonsong stacks. After Llama's elemental burst, she converts the Moonsong stacks into the Pilheim stacks, which enhances the damage of bloom-related reactions. Whew, that was a mouthful. But to explain it in Razor language, verdant dew created by teams' bloom-related reactions allows Llama to hold skill to turn dew into Moonsong, to then consume into Pilheim with burst, and Pilheim stacks buffs all the bloom reactions. This might sound complicated, but trust me, once you see me play in this video, you'll understand. So in this video, I took Llama and tested her out against a variety of different enemies in Teyvat with various team comps that will help you get an idea of Llama's abilities. Just a quick disclaimer that all the testings were done in the creator experience server, so things are subjected to change. Without further ado, enjoy the video. Alright, let's first start off with looking at Llama's animations. She can summon a deer with her idle animation, which is nice, but she's a Kalos character, so her normal attacks are pretty unique in a way where she just kind of throws Dendro at enemies, so that's pretty cool. And her elemental skill, you can just tap E to summon some deer that deals like Dendro damage every 2 seconds. Her charge attack is also very unique because she can first turn into a deer, which is pretty cool and helps with exploration. And she can also jump twice in midair, which is very nice as well. Might be able to reach certain places when you might not normally be able to. And when her deer form charge attack is on cooldown, she basically just throws a deer at enemies when you like hold charge attack. So that's pretty cool. And her elemental burst has very nice animation. So my current Llama build, I am at level 90 already. I'm using her signature weapon, which is her best in slot. And some alternatives you could use are definitely going to be sacrificial fragments, because you'll be able to get a substantial amount of elemental mastery with this, and it's a pretty good free-to-play option. If you don't have this weapon, don't worry, there's also another alternative you could use, which is going to be a brand new weapon called Black Mirror Lantern. And this one also increases elemental mastery, but the passive you get from this weapon is actually pretty good, because it increases bloom damage and also lunar bloom damage. So it's a very nice alternative to her signature weapon. As for Llama's artifact set, I'm using the newest Silken Moon's Serenade set, which is a very good support set for Llama. So you'll be able to start farming this artifact set once Nod Krai is released. And my stats are looking pretty good. I have 224 energy recharge and 1100 elemental mastery as a C0 character as well. And talents, I have everything at level 9. But the most important talent to focus on are both the skill and the burst. So with Llama in a team, she turns all Dendro related reaction into lunar bloom reactions. And this pretty much allows her to gain verdant stacks every time her party members deal lunar bloom reaction damage. And that lunar bloom reaction isn't to be confused with lunar bloom damage, Because currently as of 6.0, she is the only one that can deal Lunar Bloom damage, which is like italicized damage. So if you hold her E while you have Verdant Dew stacks, she can deal some Lunar Bloom damage. So let's quickly gain back the Verdant Dew stacks by just applying Lunar Bloom reactions. Let's get 3 stacks before we unleash. Okay. No! Okay, enemy died before I could do it. So I guess we gotta just try this out against another enemy. Okay, we got some scary zombie look-alike enemies now. Oh, let's see how much damage you can do. 97k, okay, not bad. And also one of the things I really like about Llma though is she's able to make those dental reactions crit with her Ascension stat. So once you ascend Llma, you can pretty much just crit with the Lunar Bloom reactions. Let me see if we can get a crit. Okay, I'm not critting yet. Crit. Oh, didn't crit. These new enemies are actually pretty unique in a way where they actually revive if you don't kill them fast enough. Alright, I think I saw a crit. But that's like spread, I believe. I didn't really deal any Hyperbloom crits. 36k. That's some pretty nice damage as well. I mean, the crit rate is pretty low, like 10% or something. But yeah, we'll probably get a crit when we least expect it, I guess. Alright, let's try out this team against a boss. So let's do our rotation. Did 97k Lunar Bloom damage, which is pretty good. As for the reaction damage, I saw 50k. Wow. Llma actually buffs Hyperbloom so much. Because before Llma, I don't think I ever saw 50k Hyperbloom damage. That's a non-crit as well. So I'm very interested to see other reaction damage as well, potentially. Because that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, as someone that definitely enjoys Hyperbloom teams, Llma definitely has like a revival of Hyperbloom in a way. One of the teams I want to try is definitely a Kaveh team because Kaveh specializes in Bloom, and this is a pretty free-to-play option for a full Bloom team. I see how Llma can improve this team. $40k Lunar Bloom damage, that's pretty good. And once we use Kaveh to 70k. Wow, nice. So yeah, as you can see, Llma's ability Ascension passive allows us to crit with dendro damage, which is pretty strong. And also this domain is pretty easy with Llma because of blooms. Alright, let's go fight an enemy that we can properly showcase Kaveh's damage potential. So we have this Dorito, then yeah, rotation's done. Nice. 69k with the bloom damage, 20k with like without the crits. So that's decent. 70k. Wow, okay. I think just the ability with Kaveh's bloom being able to crit with Llma is a very big difference to his damage output. Because normally you need CTU Nahida for this, but Llma's passive just allows us to just crit. I think my energy is also pretty good since I'm getting my burst back relatively quickly. But Kaveh definitely does a good amount of damage now. This team definitely works out really well and is pretty free-to-play friendly. Alright, so now I'm gonna add Ino into the team. And Ino being from Nod Krai as well along Lauma will change my team's moon sign. So as you can see, we got Ascendant Gleam now. With Ino being a team, we basically activated the Ascendant Gleam. And you can get even more buffs based on like the party team comp that you have. But in Llma's case, it's pretty important because with the Ascendant Gleam, we'll be able to potentially deal more damage with Lunar Bloom damage. So it basically increases Llma's personal damage output. So let's just do our rotation against this Fatui. Oh, I didn't crit, unfortunately. Okay, there's more enemies here. Let's get our burst up and everything. All right, let's see if we can crit. 100k crit. Yeah, this team kind of sacrifices Lunar Bloom reaction damage to increase Llama's personal Lunar Bloom damage. I think Llama probably will work best against Electro Flower, since this flower is basically weak against Dendro. But let me just pull a full rotation against it before I even destroy the shield. And then once we destroy the shield, we can see our true damage. $130k Lunar Bloom, wow. It's probably like the highest amount I've done so far. So I already know Llama is pretty strong by herself as a sole Dendro character, but what if we add Nahida into the equation? Let's see how much she'll be able to do now. And also change back into the Ascendant Gleam sign, which basically indicates we only have one character in our team, being Nod Krai. Alright, this might be a bit ambitious, but I'm gonna be challenging a local legend, and hopefully I don't die, because Cookie doesn't really heal as much as I want, especially against the local legend's attacks. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'll be able to survive the onslaught. Yeah, rotations are pretty easy with her. You can pretty much just stay on her on field, and she'll be able to deal pretty high amount of damage. Alright, now we gotta watch out because I'm running out of stamina, and boss hits hard. Alright, let's kind of burst and avoid the damage. Yeah, I see 100k. Wow. 100k again. Which kind of helps out because I got some pretty lucky crits. But that's definitely needed for the local legend. 100k Lunar Bloom damage as well. So both Llama's buffs, in addition to her personal damage, she's contributing a lot. And yeah, we pretty much just dealt with Rocky pretty quickly. Okay, I'm going to finish the boss off with this. Alright, since we've used a bunch of Hyperbloom teams and Bloom teams, the last Dendro reaction I haven't really tried out is the Burgeon team. And this, on paper, might seem a little bit weird, but it's a pretty fun Burgeon team. Alright, so let's see if we'll be able to one-shot Nilou with this team comp. This boss does run away, so I gotta make sure my rotation is on point. Alright, I got 34k Burgeon damage I just saw. Unfortunately, I didn't get any energy back though. Alright, another 34k. 46k, okay. Alright, once the Nilou gets to the middle, alright, this is when I deal my damage here. Make sure the boss is wet. I kind of messed up a little bit, but we're gonna get eaten up by the whale, but it's fine. I'm also curious to see how much damage I'll be able to do here. Around 38k. And then Lunar Bloom did 130k. Nice. 54k blooms. Alright, it's finally time to properly test out this team. Let me see. 100k. Okay, I got a crit. But that's pretty insane. 54k. Yeah, I think I'm averaging around like 50k. That's pretty good. Alright, let's get this Burgeon team a second go and basically just try it out against an enemy that's easier to see the damage, I guess. Alright, let's get our Llama up. Nahida's his burst. Also, Kokomi's his burst as well. So now we can hopefully properly test the damage out. Oh, I died to my own Burgeon course. I think that's pretty much expected because the damage is pretty high. I'm hoping this team can work. But this is basically another Burgeon team. But this time I replaced Jamin and Kokomi with Shincho and Toma. The only problem with this team might just come down to the burst. And with Raiden being a pretty mobile boss, and also potentially stealing my Dendro core is kind of annoying. But I saw 53k damage, so that's pretty good. Also, my main concern is just, yeah, dying because I don't have a healer on this. We gotta see some nice damage though. So I'm happy about that. Alright, let me see how much damage I'll be able to do with Lunar Bloom. 100k. Alright. I mean, I could just switch into Toma again, but he'll probably die. But this is for Burgeon. Oh, I'm actually still alive. I did 52k. Nice. I guess one nice thing about Burgeon with Toma is that he has a shield, so it might actually come in clutch and protect you last second, which definitely came in handy. Oh, I got Hyperbloomed. Even with Burgeon coming back to bite me in the end, I still got a taste of like the Burgeon's damage, so I'm pretty happy about that. Sino is a character that came out pretty early on back in Sumeru, and he's a pretty forgotten character that barely anyone uses. I want to see if Llma can bring him back into a competitive DPS character. But the main problem with Sino is that his burst lasts for a while, and no digital characters could keep up with his burst. So let's see how Llma can perform in this kind of team, as the only digital character as well. I'm fighting a boss that's pretty easy to deal with though. Yeah, damage-wise, he's definitely doing some Hyperbloom, and he can destroy the shield pretty fast as well because of his high attack speed. And overall, one boss is not really enough to get a conclusion, so let's go test him out even more. I know this domain isn't really the best for Electro characters, but there's multiple waves, so this will make it a pretty nice test. As long as you don't get frozen by like the cryo slimes. Yeah, damage-wise, we're doing pretty nice. Pretty high damage, and also another wave spawn, and we can still deal dental damage, so that's one thing I like about Llma, being able to still support Sino even though different waves spawned. Yeah, overall, the Cookie Hyperbloom can also deal considerable amount of damage as well. So we've tested out a bunch of different teams already with Hyperbloom, Burgeon, and even Kaveh's Bloom team. But one thing we haven't really tested out is Nilou's team. And Nilou has a very special mechanic because in a pure Bloom team, so with Dendro and Hydro characters, she can proc a special bountiful Bloom. So we'll see how this team holds up with Llma being an addition to the roster. And hopefully we'll be able to challenge some local legends with this. This boss is very mobile though, so I gotta make sure it stays put somehow. I can see like my Bloom damage is doing like around 48k. Not bad. Sometimes I get my crits as well, which deals even more damage. And the best part is Llma's personal damage can also help out a lot. I see a 53k Bloom proc. That's good. 82k. Yeah, this team is definitely like very strong as well. Because of the Bloom immediately exploding, even if a boss love to move, you can still kind of deal with it. Let's just finish this boss off. I should just move away from you again. But still pretty good. As a local legend with a lot of HP, it's definitely nice to be able to have like a longer fight. This team is overall pretty strong. I really like it. As someone that has Nilou as well, I haven't really used her in quite a while, so having Llma will definitely bring her back into a team that I use pretty often. I just bring this team and try out another boss. This boss is, I think, not as mobile as the other local legends, so it'll probably be nice to test out our damage this way. Yeah, so far, okay, I mean my burst animation, so it's kind of hard to see, but so far, once I crit, I was able to deal around 90k. Okay, this boss has a shield, but I think as long as you can constantly proc Dendro, we're good. Yeah, this team destroys the shield super quickly as well, so that's pretty nice. 54k blooms, nice. That team definitely hits very hard. I'm pretty impressed with it. $87K. Yeah. I'm just happy that Nilou's Bloom team is back. I'm not really dodging the boss's attacks because I also have Kokomi to heal me. But essentially, this boss puts up a shield and you just gotta destroy it with reactions, and Llma's reactions are perfect. Because you deal constant damage against it. Alright, we should be able to finish this boss off. Alright, let's also try out Raiden with Hyperbloom as well with his team. I'm gonna be challenging this crab, and this boss is pretty unique in the sense where we have to rely on reactions to deal with it. But the only weakness I see with Llma is you kind of need a healer in her team. So I brought Barbara with me. But generally, if you have her C1, she'll be able to heal. So that fixes a lot of problem. Oh wow, I saw so much number, like damage-wise. I think I saw a 100k reaction damage. So that was pretty strong. This boss also summons a lot of enemies, so we can actually see like individual numbers and everything. I need to knock down a target, which I believe I need to do this. Just fight like a small flower summons. Okay, yeah, the boss came down. And then we get to continue our onslaught. I'm seeing like 100k bloom crits. That's actually pretty insane. 60k hyper blooms without any crits. 100k with crits. Yeah. My damage is definitely very impressive right now. And this could definitely be like one of the strongest hyper bloom teams. If you plan on getting constellations for Llma, her C1 definitely helps out with a lot of sustain because then you don't really need to bring Barbara and you could just bring Chincho or something with better hydro application. Wow, 100k without crit, 200k. Okay, yeah, this boss has like a Hyperbloom weakness of some sort, for sure. Because I wouldn't be able to do this damage normally without it. Alright, let's finish the boss off. Oh, it has a shield. Okay, I mean, perfect. I actually want to play this team a little bit more. So I welcome the boss stalling for time. Alright. Yeah. Alright, so I brought Aina with me along with Llma to test out the Lunar Bloom damage for Llma once again. Because I want to see how much personal damage she'll be able to do. So I got 3 Verdant Dew stacks. Oh, 110k. Okay. Pretty nice. Nice AoE as well. Because I was able to finish off 3 fungi altogether. So that's always nice. Alright, let's try this again. 160k. Okay. Yeah, like for a support character to be able to dish out that high of damage is definitely always welcomed. So we have Dorito enemies. Okay. $110k. These enemies put up a shield, so I think they're trying to resist me or something and push me around. But that doesn't do any damage to me. Nice try. Oh, Ruin Grader spawns. Alright. 150k. Yeah, overall, this team is also pretty fun. But could definitely use maybe more Hydro characters. Alright, last but not least, we got a bunch of Ruin Sentinel enemies. My first Lunar Bloom damage did 50k, but that's without any crit though, so hopefully we can be able to crit and then we can properly test out the damage. Alright, Ruin Guards are pretty nice to test out the damage with, so let's see. 120k? Even though I'm focusing on my Lunar Bloom damage right now. In the background, I was doing constant Hyperbloom damage as well. So besides Llama's damage, I'm getting a bunch of reaction damage as well from my other team members. Perfect. Alright, so I'm bringing back Nilou's Bloom team, and we'll just see how much damage you can do in the Abyss. Oh, so we have a few Hydro Eidolon enemies. So even though they are immune to half of my teammates' elements, the most important part is basically dealing Bloom damage against it. So, oh wow, it just got deleted. I dealt like 100k, 120k Bloom crits. And without critting, I'm doing like 60k, so that alone is already very, very nice. But now that I have 3 Verdant Dew stacks, I can deal even more damage. 130k, yeah. 65k without any crits. Yeah, this team is definitely looking to be very strong and competitive in the current meta. Okay. Second chamber. There's a few Rift Hounds. Alright. It's gonna use my burst. Also need to heal up a little bit because I'm getting dangerously low. But is that a 190k Bloom I saw? Wow, okay. Thankfully, I brought Baba with me though, because the Bloom actually deals a lot of damage to me as well. So her being able to heal definitely helps out a lot. Gonna Lunar Bloom them. 170k? Honestly, with C1 Llama, I think this team will be even better because besides Bloom also blowing up in your face, that deals a lot of damage. Having like more heals will always be nice in this team. Wow, before we knew it, we're basically done. Wow. Alright, so we're at our final chamber against 3 of these Husk enemies. Nilou team should be able to work this out pretty easily as well. The damage right now, 100k. Yeah, I think 100k is pretty standard for this team, especially when I crit. So it's definitely looking like a very nice team for both AoE and also against bosses. Alright, my Nilou luckily has a lot of HP, so I don't really need to worry that much. Even though the enemies are a little bit split up right now, a little bit unfortunate for us, but I don't think I need to aim or worry about enemies. I just need to make sure I keep generating the Dendro cores on the ground, and enemies, the boss basically just steps on them automatically, which is very nice. Alright, skill up Barbara. And then one of them is already, oh, 2 of them are already gone. Okay. Pretty much we'll seal it, I think. Yeah.